Hi, this is Brad Ost. I am the Theology and Philosophy Librarian at the Atlanta University Center Woodruff Library in Atlanta. And today I'm here to talk to you about the Turabian citation style, going over this will be an overview of the 9th edition, which was created in 2018. I want to tell you first that you can obtain this. We're going to use this these PowerPoint slides here to go over this a little bit. And you can get this PowerPoint to use for your own research or for your own benefit from our library website for free. So you don't have to have a password or remote access or anything like that. If you go to our homepage, library homepage at www.auctr.edu right there, and go to the yellow rectangular box at the top of the page and click on Find Materials. There are actually two places where you can find this PowerPoint. If you scroll down the left-hand side to Research Guides and click on Browse Our Research Guides, you will come to Subject Headings. And if the first one you scroll down to is right here, because I'm the Theology Librarian, you click on Biblical and Religious Studies. And then the third item down is Biblical Studies. Click on that. Then in these tabs going across the top, if you go all the way over to the right, you see Turabian citation style. If you click on that, you'll see that right at the top here, I have two PowerPoints, one Turabian Bibliographic only, 9th edition, and one Turabian Bibliographic and Reference List, 9th edition. Now, the ITC, the seminary here at the AU Center, uses mainly, by and large, uses bibliographic only, so bibliography and footnotes. However, there are two flavors to Turabian. One is footnote, endnote, bibliography, or parenthetical reference list. Parenthetical just means at the end of a quote or a paraphrase, you have a parentheses with the author name, the date, and the page number, and then you have a reference list at the end, which is similar to, but not exactly the same as a bibliography. So I've got this one here, which explains both those styles. It makes for a little more of a cumbersome PowerPoint. So I normally teach right from here, and I will today, the Turabian Bibliographic only. You can see the address for this location is https://research.auctr.edu/biblical studies, all one word, BIBLICALSTUDIES, biblical studies. There's one other location for you that might be helpful. If you click on the LibGuides and go back to this list and scroll down to Citation right here, Citation and Style Guides right here, and click it open, and then go ahead and click Open Citation and Writing Style Guides, you can see that we've got a variety of citation styles that you can choose from to get assistance in, but in the middle is the Turabian style. And here I have just the Turabian Bibliographic Reference List style 9th edition. So like I said, it's a little bit more of a cumbersome PowerPoint. It has more slides, but it gives you the same information, and you can download it from there onto your laptop or continually refer to it up here on this research guide, which is https://research.auctr.edu/citation. Just one word, citation. All right, now we're going to get actually to the PowerPoint itself. I think this is big enough on this screen where I'm not going to make it a full screen. This is the K. Turabian 9th edition, as I said. I wanted you to know on each slide, on most of the slides actually, on the bottom of the slide, I've added the page number or section number in the actual Turabian book, which is, I would say, it's good to get. It costs, I think, about $10 on Amazon. The Kindle version is about $7.99. It's good to have. If you're in school for any amount of time and using Turabian, it would be good to have, because there are lots of other instances beyond the common instances that I have on this PowerPoint that you might need information on. We're actually going to go over in depth just a few of these slides. I'll just leave it up to you to download this and read them yourself. But I want you to realize, this is what I tell everybody when I'm teaching on Turabian, that this is not rocket science. It's just formatting. But it does require focus. you need to concentrate, because when you move from footnote or parenthetical to reference list and bibliography, you're going to find that little tiny things are different. So some things have a period, some things have a comma, some things have parentheses, others don't. And if you're working through and you're going at speed, you may miss out on these little tiny things. And there's nothing worse than getting a great grade on your paper and then getting a lot of points knocked off because you forgot a parentheses, or you forgot a comma, or you put a period where there should have been something else. So just take your time and focus, okay? So these are the topics that are covered in this PowerPoint. General formatting requirements, which are just the general formatting requirements for Word, Microsoft Word. So it's not anything unusual. It's not anything different than most of the other citation style guides. Capitalization, I bring this up because it is a little bit different. There used to be two styles here, sentence style and headline style for Turabian. Now there's only one, headline style. Sentence style is only used in foreign journals for Turabian. So headline style essentially says everything is capitalized, every word is capitalized, and there are a few exceptions, and they're listed here. Articles, coordinating conjunctions, prepositions. If you've forgotten your grade school grammar, you can always go to Wikipedia and type in prepositions, and they'll list for you every preposition in the English language. Second part of a hyphenated compound, unless a proper noun, and then proper nouns which are normally in lowercase. And then I give you some examples here. So in the first example, mid-Atlantic, Atlantic is capitalized because Atlantic is a proper noun. In the second example, there are two things that are anomalies here. 21st century, there are two dashes there, two hyphens there. They are not capitalized because first and century are not normally proper nouns, so they're not capitalized. And if you look there, you see that A, which is an article, and which the previous slide said was an exception and isn't capitalized, is capitalized here. That's because the first word that immediately follows a colon and starts the subtitle for any given work is always going to be capitalized. And then the third example, 4 readings of the gospel according to Matthew. That all looks good, but according, that's kind of a big word. Why isn't it capitalized? That's because it's a preposition. Ludwig van Beethoven, again, von is normally not capitalized. About, in the next example, is a preposition. And then E flat, concerto flat, is not normally a proper noun. So be aware of these things when you're capitalizing your either the titles of the articles or the titles of the books that you're using. Abbreviations. The reason I bring this up is because most of the databases will give you a citation format for you to use, but I have never seen it be Turabian. So I see a lot of my students copying and pasting that and saying, once I get it in my document, I'll amend it to look like Turabian, and often they forget. And one of the places they forget most often is the state indicator for the state. Well, in many other citation styles, Minnesota would be MINN, or Colorado would be COL, or Hawaii would be something else. For Turabian, it is the U.S. postal code, 2 letters, both capitalized. Colorado, CO, Hawaii, HI, District of Columbia, DC. So follow that abbreviation, even if you're cutting and pasting from another style and you want to amend it later. Formatting a dissertation page, you can see it. It's just clearly, just do it the way that you see here. But one thing I want to caution you on, I have everything you see here is as it should be on the page. So you see that holistic and integrated analysis of curriculum is bold. Its type font is bold. That's because that's what Turabian tells you to do, not because I was trying to make that stand out. Student name is bold because that's what Turabian says to do. So what you see on the page, duplicate that on your page. Formatting class paper instead of a dissertation, a little bit different, but once again, follow what you see on the page. And then here it is, the documentation style. I've given you a little legend here. There will be a bold N next to the note for each thing that we're doing, and a bold B next to each bibliography entry for whatever it is we're doing. We're actually going to go over just 2 slides, online journal article and a book, because 85% to 90% of all your research is going to come from an online journal article. and anywhere from 20 to 20 from 10 to 20% is going to be from a book. So those two instances are what you're going to encounter most of the time. So let's go ahead and take a look at online journal. So we see note, you see on the left-hand column there, and so that is what a note looks like, how it's formatted. You see just the structure of it, that it is a first line indentation, meaning the first line is indented from the rest, from the body of the citation. It starts with the author name in its proper order, followed by a comma. Then in quotations is the title of the article, followed by a comma. Then in italics is the name of the journal, and then you have a number and then NO.12. Well, that number 97, that's the volume number. Now, most citation styles you see will have V or VO, VOL, something like that. Turabian does not. So exactly as you see it here, don't make any additions, don't make any subtractions. Have it be exactly what you're seeing here. So the volume number has no indication, just the number. And then for the issue number, no ISS, no IS, NO, period. That's it. And then the number. Then in parentheses, you have the date, whatever information they give you. It may be December 2000. It may be just 2000. It may be summer 2000. Put whatever they give you in that, in those parenthetical brackets. Then a colon. Then the number that you quoted from, the page that you quoted from, a comma. And then something that changed from the 8th edition to the 9th edition is you no longer need to have that URL. If it's a little bit unwieldy, you can just go ahead and put the name of the database. And that I much prefer just the name of the database. So that's the note. If you move down to the B, that's the bibliography. You can see right away the structure of it is a little different. It's called a hanging indentation, which means the first line hangs over the body of it, which is beneath it. The author name is flipped because the bibliography is structured so that it is alphabetical according to the author's last name, but it ends in a period. Shapiro, comma, Lawrence, A, period. You may say, well, we always put a period after a middle initial. Even if that middle initial hadn't been there, it was just Lawrence, we still would put a period. Now, this is where focus comes in, right? Because you just looked at note, and after the author name, you had a comma. In bibliography, after the inverted author name, you have a period. Then in quotations, you have the title of the article, but once again, ends in a period, not a comma, as the note does. Then it's a similar construction, in italics, the name of the journal article, the volume, the number, the date, a colon, and then for online journals, the Turabian style wants the entire extent of the pages. Where does the article start? Where does it end? This one started on page 635 and ended on page 654. Period after that, then either the URL or the name of the database, period. And once again, you can see down below from 15.4.1.4 is the section within the Turabian book where this can be found, and it will be expanded upon and more examples will be given as well. So you can go ahead and use that information. Here's a book with a single author. Once again, the construction for the note, first line indentation, author name followed by a comma, then the title of the book in italics, then no quotation mark. It goes immediately to the parenthetical brackets, and what you have in there is the publishing information. You have the geographical location of the publisher, the name of the publisher itself, and then the date it was published, followed by a comma, and the page number you quoted from. Beneath that is the bibliography. Once again, the hanging bibliography, the inverted author name, followed by a period. Then you have the title, once again, of the book. You can see among isn't capitalized. Why? Remember, that's a preposition. That's why it's not capitalized. But the title is followed by a period here. Remember, up above, there was no grammatical character there, but there is one here, a period, followed by the publisher information, but you notice there's no parentheses here. So just the geographic location followed by a colon, then the publisher, the public name of the publisher followed by a comma, then the date and a period. So that's a book. So you can see the differences, and you can see that, wow, this is really simple, actually, when you get down to the nuts and bolts of it. You just have to be aware of when things change. When's a period? When's a comma? When do you put in parentheses? When do you not? That's why I suggest that you, every time you do your citation styles, you keep this PowerPoint up on your desk and you just bring it up. Oh, I've got a book. How do I do a book? Boom, there it is. You just work right off the PowerPoint. So I've got citing a book with multiple authors. So the first note, which is indicated as number 3, is 2 or 3 authors. And you can see how the formatting is done for that. And then number 4 there is 4 or more authors. So for the note, it is the name of the primary author and then et al, the others. Et al, and then go ahead and everything else is the same. But in a bibliography, it's very important that you realize in the bibliography, you're going to actually write out everybody's name. And in what order do you do that? You do it in exactly the order that it's presented to you in the article or the book or the bibliography. There's very stringent code about what authors are placed first, second, third. Often it has to do with prestige. Often it has to do with tenure. Often it has to do with how much the amount of work that was done by each author. So we don't know what that is. We just go ahead and go by whatever they give us. And so you can see in the one that was 4 or more authors, everything that was in the et al in the note is now written totally out. So that's citing a book from multiple authors. I've also got how do you do an essay? How do you do a lecture? How do you do the Bible? How do you do a journal article in print? How do you do an ebook, website, blog? And then we come to long and short notes. Now, Turabian has been moving away from Latin abbreviations for a long time. It still allows ibid. But here it's saying after your first note, which is fully cited, you put in all the information. After that, you don't have to put the full information. You can use one of 2 varieties of short notes, author-only notes or author title notes. And that title would be up to 4 distinctive words from the full title. So the examples would be, here's Philip Ball, Bright Earth, Art, etc., etc. The next time you cite him, it would either be the author-only notes, you just put in Ball, comma, and the page number, or if you were using author title notes, you would put in Ball, comma, and up to 4 words, you could put Bright Earth, Art, and, or Art Invention, or just Bright Earth as they have, comma, and then the page number. Now you have to choose one or the other. You can't intermix the 2. You either use author-only notes or author title notes. But here's the important thing. Why would you use author title notes when the other one is so easy? Just the author's last name and the page number. That would happen if you had 2 authors with the same last name, and it would be confusing. Who are you speaking about? Or the same author, but you are citing 2 of their books. So that's the only reason I can think of for using the author title notes there. All right. Using ibid. Ibid is the Latin phrase, just meaning in the same place as the exact previous citation. So you can't use ibid for a citation that came 2 notes previous to that. It has to be exactly previous to the one that you're using. So you would have Doe, missing person, page 33. The next one, you used the same source, the same author. You would put in ibid, period, because ibid is an abbreviation, period, comma, and what page it came on. The first one came on page 33. The second one here is page 87. And then the next one, if you once again came off the same source and the same page, you would just put ibid, period. If it was the different page, you'd put ibid, period, comma, and then the page number, and then a period. So this is all just the continued use of ibid, which is also easy as well. This just tells you how to format the endnote page, formatting the footnote, formatting the bibliography. It's all very simple. You can just read it. Citing sources and when to cite. So we know that the 2 most common reasons you cite are because you are directly quoting a source and you have quotation marks, and at the end of that quotation mark, you put in your citation information, either a number or a parenthetical, or it's the end of a paraphrase, which is an idea. You've gained some idea from a source and you're putting it into your own words. Now, the idea is that if it's something common, like an author writes, yes, the sun rose as it does every day in the morning. Well, that's common knowledge. You don't have to quote that. You don't have to cite that. But if it is an idea associated with a specific person, or it's an idea that's new enough to be not really common in the field's knowledge, then yes, you should cite. But here's the problem. What if you come to something and you go, I don't know if I should cite this or not. Here's the rule of thumb. With the concern over author integrity and research integrity, which we all should be concerned about, the issue of plagiarism has become very important. So plagiarism can get you a loss of grade. It can get you kicked out of the class. It can get you expelled from school. We don't want that to happen. And it mostly happens when somebody paraphrases something or they specifically take something from the internet without citing it and showing it where you got it from. The rule is, if it's not yours, you should really cite it. But if you're unsure, here's the rule of thumb. If you cite something and you didn't need to cite it, no harm, no foul. It's okay. You just did some extra work. But if you didn't cite something and you should have cited it, then there could be ramifications, serious ramifications. As I said before, you could be expelled, lose a grade, have to take the class over again, whatever. But it's very important to think about integrity in your research. So if you're at least a bit confused, go ahead and cite. Putting quotes in your text, block quotations. So if you are quoting somebody and that quote takes 4 lines or less, and I'm not talking about 4 sentences, 4 lines of your Word document or less, then that quote can remain in the double-spaced text. If your quote is going to go over 4 lines, even by 1 character, it goes into the 5th line, then you need a block quotation. So this will be, you'll end your regular paper, your double-spaced paper, and so is quoted here, period. You go double-space, you indent 1 tab from the left-hand side, and you begin in single-space to put in your quotation. Now, you don't put quotation marks around it. You do put a parenthetical or a number at the end of it, which you're going to refer to later on, who the author is and why it was cited. And it is single-spaced. And then once you are done, you go ahead and double-space back to your regular double-space writing. So it will be left-hand justified. It will go, the entire block will go in 1 tab. It will be straight down 1 tab. Doesn't matter what's happening on the right-hand side. It will be single-spaced. It will not have quotation marks around it because you're setting it apart, which is enough. And it'll either have the number of the footnote or it'll have a parenthetical at the end. And then after that, you resume your double-spaced paper. And you do that with a superscript number. You put a number at the end or a parenthetical. And then all these special formats are also dealt with in the book itself. So there we have it. I know I went through it super fast, but what you can see is that it really isn't that difficult, but there are some things that you need to focus on. What I want to leave you with is that those of you who are in the AUC community, anybody in the academic community can use this PowerPoint to help them in citing their research. But anybody in the AUC community, Clark Atlanta University, Morehouse College, Spelman College, or the Interdenominational Theological Center, can email me at bost@auctr.edu to get help. I will walk you through this process, or you could send me your paper and I will look at some of your footnotes and your bibliography and I will see if there's any areas where there is error. I will highlight those areas and then I will write in a little note telling you where you can go to find the correct way of formatting it, either by pointing to a slide on this PowerPoint or pointing to the book and writing in what section of the book that you can go to find it. But I will help you discover where you have gone astray and how you can fix the issue. So I hope this all helps and hope to hear from you soon. Take care.